And that brings me to my next story, which completely cuts against the Democrats and the progressive left's narrative on allowing law-abiding citizens to conceal and carry in public, where we have a good guy with a gun killing a bad guy with a gun. Here are the details and the things you need to know about. The gunman who opened fire in an Indiana mall on Sunday evening was a 20-year-old man who brought 2 firearms into the building and waited inside a bathroom for more than an hour before fatally shooting 3 people, including a married couple, and wounding 2 more. The alleged shooter was inside a bathroom near the food court of the Greenwood Park Mall for about an hour and 2 minutes before he entered the dining area and fired his 6-hour firearm. He was neutralized within 2 minutes, but not before he was able to shoot 5 people, including a 12-year-old who survived and 3 people who were killed. This was according to the Greenwood Police Department chief, and he actually had a few words to say about this citizen who killed and neutralized this suspect. Let's go ahead and see what he had to say.
It was a very, very fast response, but I'm going to tell you, the real hero of the day is the citizen that was lawfully carrying a firearm in that food court and was able to stop this shooter almost as soon as he began.
Look, he is right to say that this man is a hero. 2 minutes is an eternity, and it probably would have been longer to receive the 911 calls and have police show up on scene, find the suspect, and ultimately neutralize him. Thank God this man was carrying. And again, like I said, it cuts against the Democrat and progressive left's narrative because they don't want this. This is why there was that Supreme Court case with New York where the Supreme Court ruled in favor of our Second Amendment rights to be able to conceal carry, where we don't have to show proper cause or special cause to the county and the state to prove to them why we need to protect ourselves against someone or something. It's none of their business on why. We have the right to carry, but they want to continually infringe on our right to carry. Thank God this person had a gun, saved a bunch of people probably. Unfortunately, yes, 3 people did die. But I mean, when you're talking about 2 minutes there and the amount of rounds this guy fired, this guy was, in fact, a hero. He put his life on the line for these people, and he saved a lot more. The police chief went on to say the most puzzling piece of this puzzle is the fact that he was in the restroom for an hour and 2 minutes. We believe he was getting ready. 2 people, including a gunman, were pronounced dead at the scene. 2 others were transported to the Indianapolis hospital, but could not be saved. There were some witnesses here that talked about what they saw and heard. Let's go ahead and hear about what they had to say.
Off in the corner, I looked over by the Mexican restaurant, which is right next door to us, and there was a guy with his pistol held on the bathroom. And I believe that guy to have possibly been the guy to have shot the shooter. And, when police officers did get there, they put that guy in handcuffs.
Other than eyewitness accounts on what took place, we have more details emerging here and found that the alleged shooter was wearing a waistband holster and had several magazines strapped to him. He also had a backpack that was carrying a second firearm, a rifle that was broken down, which he left in the bathroom, and several rounds of ammunition. Investigators determined that the alleged shooter purchased the 6-hour on March 8, 2022 in Greenwood. The shooter entered the mall at a doorway near the food court around 4:54 p.m. He walks directly to the food court restroom. 1 hour and 2 minutes later, he exits the restroom and shoots Victor Gomez outside the restroom. The shooter then allegedly points his rifle into the food court where he shot at Pedro and Rosa Padina, who were eating dinner, and shot both of them. The gunman then continued to fire off rounds, striking a 22-year-old woman who suffered a leg wound. One of the gunman's bullet fragments ricocheted off one of the walls and struck a 12-year-old girl who was ultimately running away from the scene. At 5:55 p.m., only 2 minutes after he allegedly unleashed his attack, a legally armed Good Samaritan named, and I'm just going to give the last name, Dickin, returned fire with a pistol. Dickin had been shopping with his girlfriend at the time. Quote, the shooter fired several rounds, striking the suspect. The suspect attempted to retreat back into the restroom and failed, fell to the ground after being struck. The gunman allegedly fired 24 rounds. The Good Samaritan fired 10. And this is the whole thing, right? Fired 10 rounds, so probably spent the entire mag, because usually a mag will hold, 9 to 10? And I don't know what gun the Good Samaritan has. I don't see that listed here. But regardless, the Democrats want you to go back to musket days, right? They want you to go back to having 5-round magazines. It just goes to show when the adrenaline's going, you're in a firefight, you need rounds. You need things to carry it because you're going after somebody else that might have more rounds than you that obtained things maybe illegally. Clearly, this guy got his firearm through a gun shop. Looked like he obtained it legally himself. Not all the information's out yet, but that seems to be the case where he fired 24 rounds and the guy fired 10. You need rounds. Okay, you need these longer magazines so you pump some guys full of lead. They're trying to kill a bunch of people, but Democrats don't want that, right? These things are all scary, right? Their calibers are scary. You got Joe Biden saying a 9mm will blow your lung out of the freaking body. What an idiot. You got freaking Whoopi Goldberg on The View saying that the AR-15 will just turn you to dust. And she goes, oh, you should have just, these kids were they're just vaporized. They were gone. It's like there's literally accounts of 5-year, like a little child being shot 5 times. And he wasn't blown to dust. He was shot 5 times and he survived with an AR-15. So it's not going to blow you to dust. I'm not discrediting the fact that it doesn't do massive damage. I fully understand that. I'm aware of where rifles are at and the type of damage they can cause. But the argument is stupid is what I'm talking about. The argument and the things they say about firearms is stupid. Thank God this guy had one, and thank God he was there. And thank God he had the balls. He had the balls to go out and neutralize the suspect. Quote, once he came out and started looking, it was 2 minutes by the time the first shot was fired until he was neutralized by our good Samaritan. The police chief said investigators were still working to determine a possible motive. FBI forensic investigators are scouring data from his cell phone, which was wet because the alleged gunman placed his phone in the toilet. Police also went to the suspect's home in the hours following the shooting when they entered to find that the oven was on and there was a laptop in the oven and can of butane. There was also an eviction notice posted as well. The alleged gunman had attended Greenwood High School and was subsequently employed, but had left his job in May. So as time goes on, I will try to update you if there's anything noteworthy to be updated on with the shooting. But there you go. Another story cutting against the left's narrative of not wanting us to have firearms, not wanting us to be able to be using our Second Amendment rights on conceal and carry. And again, thank God for this hero here in Greenwood, Indiana. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.